The station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, folks, another round of severe weather impacted portions of the DMV yesterday, with flooding being one of the primary impacts. Could we still see additional storms and rainfall today? We'll have a check of your forecast in just a bit.
And coming up on the news at noon, major flooding caused serious problems across the DMV. A look at the aftermath, plus
a Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment, charging 19 individuals with violations of Georgia law.
It marks the fourth criminal indictment against former President Donald Trump. Coming up, what he's charged with and what's next for the 45th president. And good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. Let's take a live look outside. I believe we are looking at the Kennedy Center. It's definitely humid today, and that could have an impact a little bit later on. Meteorologist Damon Matson joined us for the latest check on the forecast. And Damon, obviously we had severe weather yesterday.
Yep.
Some concerns for later this afternoon?
A little bit, and I think that's my key message here, Mark, is we're not totally out of the woods yet here, folks. We still could have some activity later this afternoon, but let's talk about what happened out there yesterday for a moment. Again, that rainfall was something else across portions of the DMV. Where you see all of the green on the map, folks, those are rainfall totals that get up above a half an inch and then get a lot closer to an inch of rainfall. And we had several locations see a good amount of rainfall. Parts of the Shenandoah Valley picked up about an inch of rainfall there, and then mostly here the heaviest totals can be found down into the DC Metro, the I-95 corridor, and southern Maryland. Let's zoom down here and talk about the localized pockets that really gave us some problems. 2+ inches of rain found in pockets through Fairfax County, right near Alexandria, the heart of the district, and back over toward Prince George's County as well. And of course, we had those multiple reports coming out of DC and Fairfax County of flash flooding that very quickly took place because those rainfall totals, they came down in less than an hour, folks. So yes, the area is very sensitive to any additional rainfall, and unfortunately, the same storm system that caused all of that activity yesterday, it's not completely gone yet. We still have a low circulating over toward the Great Lakes, and there is a cold front that is trying to drag through the DMV as we move into the afternoon. So as we approach the 2 o'clock hour and beyond, there is the possibility we see additional scattered showers and storms, and if these hit some of these same hard hit locations from yesterday, well, we're talking about the possibility of flooding once again. So we'll detail out the timing and location of these possible storms later this afternoon, coming up in your full forecast in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. The severe rain caused widespread flooding across the DMV, causing major problems here in the district. David Bitterman sent us this video from Old Town Alexandria. This is on Gibbon Street, and wind just whipping across the street. And the same heavy rain creating flooding on the George Washington Parkway. Never a situation that you want to be in, going only a few miles per hour on a major roadway during rush hour. Let's take a look at this video here. 2 areas in the Northwest where cars were trapped by rapidly rising water. Some even had to be towed away. Tragedy at a DC dog daycare that has had flooding in the past, but this time things took an unexpected turn. Several dogs drowned. DC News Now's Randy Bass has the latest.
Yeah, just a lot of destruction and heartbreak left behind today. That water yesterday rising 6 feet in just a matter of minutes. It all happened so fast here along Rhode Island Avenue here at the District Dogs location. Those floodwaters rushing through the front entrance of the building here, that boarded up area were once windows that looked into the doggy daycare. You see debris and everything on the ground just left behind after everything that happened yesterday. Plus, you see that debris up on the windows. That is just how high that water really went yesterday as crews came to their aid. They weren't very far away, helping drivers and passengers stuck in high water under an overpass. Those crews all helping to evacuate more than 20 dogs from inside the building here. Pet parents hurrying back to check on their dogs as the news broke, not knowing if their dogs had been rescued. Other owners seeing it all unfold from the screens of their phones.
I'm just happy she's okay. I was so worried on the way over here. I just saw on Instagram that there have been reports that a few of the dogs didn't make it. So I was worried. She was one of them, but she's okay, so now I need to take her to the vet.
And in a statement, the founder of District Dogs says in part the District Dogs family is heartbroken over the events that occurred at our Rhode Island Avenue location. The founder saying the company is working with DC officials and they're focused on supporting employees and customers during this difficult time. And of course, this area of Northeast, this stretch of Rhode Island Avenue, this District Dogs location, no stranger to flooding. Flooding happened here along this stretch of road at this time last year, last August. Another major storm swept through, some of that water leaking into the storefront here at District Dogs. And of course, we're going to continue to follow this story and ask questions about how this all could have happened. So be sure to stick with us as we continue to learn more. In Northeast, I'm Randy Bass, DC News Now.
Randy Bass, thank you. And new at noon, the Montgomery County Education Association president is responding after dozens of teachers accused the Montgomery County Public School principal of sexual harassment. And here's part of the statement. She says the recent exposure of allegations against the principal and MCPS shines a light on the school system's failure to fulfill its fundamental duty of protecting staff, students, and the school community from bullying and harassment. Unfortunately, MCPS leaders chose to dismiss or ignore the pleas of our members and the compelling evidence that we provided. The allegations are detained in an article from the Washington Post, and Farquhar Middle School principal Joel Beetleman was reported to the school district 18 times over the past 7 years, and he was promoted to principal of Paint Branch High School back in June. According to the Washington Post, the district is now announcing that he will be on a leave of absence, but they did not specify why. And we reached out to MCPS for a comment. The district says it has identified an external and independent investigation team to look into the allegations, and you can read their full response on our website, dcnewsnow.com. An update this afternoon, the mother of a 6-year-old who shot his teacher at Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News, Virginia, has pleaded guilty. The mother's facing a felony child neglect charge, as well as a misdemeanor count of recklessly storing a gun. The teacher injured in the shooting, Abby Zwerner, is seeking $40 million in a lawsuit against the district. We'll have much more on this newscast coming up at 4 p.m. Maryland Governor Wes Moore announcing the launch of a new application portal. Our Shanika Grimshaw is taking a look at how Marylanders can qualify.
That's right. That program is through the Department of Service and Civic Innovation. That act specifically allows young people to be paid for community service and offers training options as a bridge to employment.
Now, I know that young people are faced with a number of choices once they graduate from high school, but I'm here to tell you this, that you don't have to know what's next to do something now. We've created an option that allows you to explore various possibilities and discover your power through service.
The service year option is for those 18 to 21 years old with a high school diploma. They can serve in organizations that provide job training and earn at least $15 an hour. There's also a Maryland Corps option, and they are both 9-month programs and result in $6,000 toward tuition costs for future employment, apprenticeship, or college. And those applications are due September 1st, and any organizations interested in participating are encouraged to apply as well. In the studio, Shanika Grimshaw, DC News Now.
Shanika, thank you. Breaking overnight, former President Donald Trump faces another round of criminal indictments, this time out of the state of Georgia for alleged election interference. And he's joined by 18 other alleged co-conspirators. Capitol correspondent Trevor Shirley's on the Hill with the latest.
The indictment was unsealed late Monday night in Fulton County, Georgia, where Atlanta is. The documents accuse former President Donald Trump, along with 18 allies, of running a, quote, criminal enterprise to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia. Along with the former president, lawyers, including Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, face charges, along with Mr. Trump's former White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. The nearly 100-page indictment details dozens of alleged tactics used used by the group, including pressuring election and state officials to find enough votes for Trump to win, along with harassing election workers and attempting to persuade Georgia lawmakers to appoint so-called fake electors to send to Washington. It also accuses some of those charged with attempting to tamper with actual voting machines and steal data from a voting machine company. Former President Trump called the latest indictment a witch hunt and said the process was rigged. The prosecutor who brought the charges, Democrat Fani Willis, denied any political agenda.
I make decisions in this office based on the facts and the law. The law is completely nonpartisan. That's how decisions are made in every case. To date, this office has indicted, since I've been sitting as a district attorney, over 12,000 cases. This is the 11th RICO indictment. We followed the same process. We look at the facts, we look at the law, and we bring charges.
That was Trevor Shirley reporting. Meantime, the former president's legal team is criticizing the Fulton County DA office over a report that the charging document against the former president was leaked. The document was posted online early Monday and abruptly taken down. The former president's lawyers say that this reflects flaws in the investigation. A spokesperson for the Fulton County Clerk's office says that the document circulating online was actually fake, but did not comment on anything written in the document. Well, this all happening as the Justice Department is fighting former President Trump's effort to reestablish his Mar-a-Lago estate as a secure facility. Now, this would allow the former president to review evidence in his classified documents case at the resort. The DOJ is calling the move, quote, unnecessary. However, the former president's legal team says that having to travel to a different secure location would be too difficult for him and law enforcement. Well, that classified documents case is just one of 3 other cases in which Trump is charged. He's also been indicted in D.C. for his alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election. And finally, the former president was charged in Manhattan for allegedly falsifying business records that was in connection to a hush money payment made to an adult film star during his 2016 campaign. Altogether, former President Trump is facing 91 counts across 4 separate jurisdictions.